This is Manchester, though, the scene live right in the heart of Manchester, so we can see that the reports have been going on for a number of hours of the trouble, and here we see that it still continues, and it looks very much like this cat and mouse game that our team have been reporting on, of the rioters moving around the city centre, the heart of the city, and you see some of the riot police there, plus a truck coming in from behind, trying to contain the situation. Our reporter Chris Buckler is in fact right there, I think next to this camera. Chris, what exactly is going on?
Yeah, indeed. We have large groups of youths who are making their way around the city centre. To be frank, they're trying to get to shops, and every time the police scatter them from one location, they start to go to another location. And as the street you're looking at the moment, it's got a number of streets off it. The difficult thing for the police is that they are trying to work out exactly how to contain this. If we maybe just cross the road here and take a look, if we just move slightly forwards, Justin, I'm just going to walk slightly further over. It seems that they're trying to put up barricades here at the moment in front of the police. Now, it's quite difficult to see because of the light and where we are, but you can see that they're putting barricades in front of the police van. We're not going to go any further because the police have asked us to stop, but if you can just see they're now running back further. In fact, here they come again. I'll just step out of the way. They're running up towards us here and towards the camera. Justin, I'm just going to pull Justin, our cameraman, back as the guys move further on up. And in fact, police officers are going to move in just in front of us as well. And we're just moving out of the way for the police officers. You can see in some cases they have their faces masked, and they're now again making their way down a side street. This is why it is so difficult for the police officers in this particular instance, because they are doing their very best to try and contain this. The difficult thing is, along every one of these roads, there are a number of shops with high-value items. They're particularly targeting stores that have fashion. They're targeting stores that have jewellery items. You can just see, if we take a look at front of us here, Justin, you can see another van is moving in, again trying to move them into one contained position. It's really tough here, though, because of Manchester's layout. And in fact, some of them are now coming out from the side streets again. You can see the faces masked as they do. And the police standing in front of stores. I'll turn you around in a second to show you one of the stores, because there has been a store that's already been looted here. But now they're down another side street. Now the police moving in here, trying to stop them. And in fact, we're seeing now we've got somebody with their face masked. The police officer is asking him to remove his hood and to remove his mask. This is one of the things that they're particularly trying to do. They're trying to make this, as they call it, a sterile zone. Nobody with caps, hoods or masks. Now the police are just going to withdraw, and if we just stay where we are for a second, and we'll turn around and let the police withdraw and get on with their business, because they have had a difficult operation here tonight, and they will move further back. Let me just show you one thing here. This is the Diesel store. Now, it was badly targeted earlier on this evening. You can probably see just in front of it, there's a number of things lying outside it, including fashion items. And those were just left because they were moving away. And here's something else I want to show you. Plastic bags. These have been used and actually carried. There's a whole pile of them outside the front of the Diesel store. And they've been used to basically gather goods and to move those goods out of shops. There is no doubt that they are concerned with looting. Just a short time ago was speaking to a man. In fact, I can call Ian over. Ian, if I just bring you over. This is Ian, who runs one of the shops inside the Manchester city centre. You've only returned to your store this evening.
Yeah.
And it's in a bad way.
Oh, it's in a very bad way. There's nothing left. It's all gone. So we've stopped trading effectively. There's nothing we can do now. We're just going to try and board it up, and we'll hopefully get home. But all the stock's gone or it's smashed. So that's it. That's where we are.
And when you take a look at some of those youths who were wandering about the streets there, the truth is that they are 14, 15, something like that. We'll just move over and show you that the police have just stopped a car there. They're now searching a car, and they are pulling some people out of that car at the moment. They're letting them back in, and they're walking away from that car. But it's a very tense situation, as you can probably tell. Ian, you can probably give a sense of the tension. I mean, it's unpleasant.
It is a war zone, literally. I've never seen Manchester like this in my life. This is unbelievable. Please, if you've got any thoughts about coming to Manchester just to see this, don't. Stay away. This is a war zone.
It's really not a spectator sport.
No, it isn't. And there are people doing that.
a look at what is happening here, people will talk about why these riots are happening. Do you have any doubt that riots are happening?
It's just greed, criminality and greed. That's all it is. It's just a taking advantage of a situation. This guy, poor guy, got killed in London, fine, but he's not in Manchester. They're just taking advantage of the situation, just wrecking the entire place. Manchester has been wrecked. I mean, there's a lot more devastation when the bomb went off, but if this carries on for a few more nights, there won't be a city left.
And what do you think of the police response? We saw them in action there.
They're very good. They're trying their best, but they're so fluid. These gangs hit, they strike for a couple of minutes, and then they're off at speed on bikes, and they are just moving at such a pace on the phones. They know where they all are, and they're just hitting it. The police are just trying to play catch up. They need more police. Unfortunately, we have what we have.
The difficult thing is we've also heard, because we can't get further into the centre here, but towards the Arndale Centre as well, we've also heard that there are problems.
Oh, it's massive, yeah. There's loads of stores being set on fire. It is a war zone. Manchester is going to take a lot to recover from this.
And Ian, you talked about that, and when you take a look at that, and you talked about the nights to come, are you concerned about the nights to come?
Well, it doesn't matter, my shop's finished now, so it's the city I care about, but it's gone. If it carries on like this, there will not be a city here. That's a fact. My shop can't get any more damage than it is, so it's happened in the first night. In hindsight, perhaps you should have moved the stock out, but you think you're safe in the UK, but you're not.
Ian Kinsella, thanks very much indeed,
no
and
problem.
I'll let you get back to your store.
Guys.
Yeah, no, thank you very much
Safe.
indeed. Clearly, as you can see, it's a fluid situation here tonight, and as we watch behind, I mean, there have been more youths that have been coming out of those side streets. Don't know if you heard Ian mention there, but he was saying the fact that they have been on BMX bikes in some cases, racing around this area. It's almost like some of them are going ahead to look for police and being followed by other groups of youths. How organised this is, listen, we just can't say, but certainly there does seem to be some degree of organisation among the groups that are taking part in this rioting and looting in the centre of Manchester this evening.
Chris, we'll just stay with you for a bit, if that's okay. Your radio cam signal is breaking up a little bit, so we may need to leave you anyway. Just anecdotally, I mean, I, for example, have had a text from my own brother in Manchester city centre just half an hour ago. He was, like many people, going to a concert which turns out had been cancelled on the advice of the police, and he described the city centre as utterly eerie. I mean, the pictures you've just been showing us live were quite extraordinary. What is the geography? Where exactly are you? Are you right in the heart of the city?
Yeah. Well, I'll turn you around again, and hopefully the camera won't break up. But if I just show you down that street behind me, that's actually towards Manchester Town Hall. So this is really the centre of Manchester. Down at the end of that street is Deansgate. If I just pull you around here, Justin, if we take a look down the end of that street, behind these police officers, at the end of that is Deansgate, one of the big commercial centres. You'll find a lot of bars there, a lot of cafes. And then back behind where these police officers are is the Arndale Centre. It just loops round. And the Arndale Centre has really been a target tonight because that's where a lot of shops are. And it's where some of the trouble and running battles with the police have been taking place, because they have been very anxious to try and secure the shops there. The difficult thing for the police is that whenever they do get a window smashed and they get people going in, they then find themselves moving away from that, going somewhere else, stopping people from getting in another shop, and then they turn around and they find that they've gone back into the shop that was being looted in the first place. And there is this odd cat and mouse game. I'll just get out of the way because obviously we're seeing that ambulance coming through as well. But a difficult cat and mouse game for the police as they try and work out exactly what is happening. Now, saying that, we have seen a number of arrests tonight. And the other thing that you saw very visibly earlier on was the fact that we did have a number of masks that were removed, people told to get their hoods down, to get their caps off. And Greater Manchester Police have already said that they have been studying CCTV footage, and they have a number of faces from that CCTV footage that they believe they can get convictions from, and they are warning people that they are being filmed in this city centre, and that if they do get involved in this kind of looting, they will be brought to justice. But I think what's also keen to remember in terms of this is when you talk to Ian there, he's talking about the fact that his store was wrecked and he thought it was going to be safe tonight. The difficult thing is there are so many stores right along this road, right down these alleyways and right off these alleyways, that the police cannot be everywhere at one time. And that's why the youths are taking advantage in the way that they are tonight.
And just finally, Chris, could you argue that the police containment, if that's the right word, this cat and mouse game, is working in the sense that the violence has stopped? I mean, are shops still being damaged, or is it just that cat and mouse containment?
You know, I have to say, from being here, I don't think there is a simple, this is the way you deal with the situation. There is certainly a strategy that the police are involved in here. They are being very careful to try and keep some stores out of the way. We've actually seen in some cases that they have guarded a number of high value item stores. So, for example, jewellery stores, fashion stores, those that have their windows smashed in some cases, they've actually put 2 officers outside there to try and guard them. But the reality is whenever you do have roaming youths, and not just one group of roaming youths, but several groups of roaming youths, you're in a position where actually you're trying to work out exactly what to do. It's why we have the police helicopter above us, which you might still be able to hear. It's been using its searchlight to kind of try and pinpoint where these youths are. And that searchlight is still being used this evening, because what they can do from the helicopter is get a sense of in what direction they are moving. Nonetheless, I have heard from some people complaints that they have stood back in some cases whenever shops have been ransacked, whenever shops have been looted. They have seen people go in with bags and basically fill those bags up and take them home. So there is some criticism of the police tonight, but as I say, this is not a simple way of dealing with a simple problem. This is complicated and very difficult geography.